Okay, did you catch that? I'll show you in slow motion. The security guy in the blue and Charlie's bodyguard in the tent looked at their watch simultaneously, which my guess would be they received some kind of alert that I'm guessing Charlie's entire security crew got. So what kind of alert would they get? Could it be some type of signal? I've seen the videos people have posted of others, including the bodyguard in the tent, giving what looked to be hand signals seconds before the shooting. But I have not seen this footage here, so I was hoping someone may have an idea what kind of alert that this could have been. Because if we can get an answer to that, then that could possibly help us get an answer to something else, and so on and so forth.
The investigation didn't stop at the autopsy. Forensic experts began re-examining every detail from the night of the shooting. They analyzed blood spatter patterns, the trajectory of the bullet, and the positioning of everyone present in the auditorium. What they discovered was alarming. The patterns of blood indicated that the shot may have originated from a different angle than originally reported. Witnesses described movement and positioning that seemed impossible to reconcile with the official account. One security officer claimed he saw a figure approach from the side, yet surveillance footage either failed to capture the moment or had gaps during that exact window. Every inconsistency fueled speculation that critical evidence had been withheld, intentionally or otherwise. Analysts noted that the autopsy report itself had been finalized suspiciously quickly. Complex trauma cases usually take days, sometimes weeks, to fully analyze, especially when a spinal injury is involved. Yet, Charlie's report was signed off within 48 hours. Was this efficiency a coincidence, or had the conclusion been predetermined? Observers began to question whether the rush to closure was an attempt to control the narrative before independent experts could intervene. The public sensed a story being shaped, carefully, deliberately, away from scrutiny. Leaked text messages added another layer of intrigue. The messages revealed that Charlie had expressed concern over potential threats in the hours leading up to the event. Security measures, he believed, were insufficient. One message read, "I don't trust the plan. Something could happen tonight." Another stated, "We need extra eyes at the exit doors. Make sure no one surprises us." These warnings were seemingly ignored. Why did the event proceed with minimal precautions? The message metadata showed unusual time-stamped gaps, leading some analysts to suggest that messages might have been deleted or reordered. If these communications had been handled differently, could this tragedy have been prevented? The public, already shocked, began demanding answers. Social media erupted with theories. Experts dissected every angle, and journalists combed through hours of video footage. Reconstructed trajectories showed, but the bullet could not have traveled in the path described by the autopsy without causing immediate catastrophic damage to the spine. The reported trajectory and the physical evidence simply did not align. Some suggested the possibility of tampering, intentional misrepresentation, or critical mistakes by those responsible for documenting the scene. Witness testimonies added further complexity. Paramedics described marks inconsistent with the official trajectory. Blood pools did not match the stated angle of entry. Security personnel described unidentified figures near key areas of the auditorium, people who were never interviewed publicly or accounted for in reports. Each discrepancy amplified doubts, painting a picture of a chaotic scene carefully managed to appear orderly. Every omitted detail, every gap in testimony seemed calculated to reduce public alarm. Procedural errors compounded the controversy. Logs from emergency response teams indicated delays in action, conflicting accounts of timeframes, and discrepancies in reporting injuries. Surveillance footage was missing or corrupted at critical moments, and questions about how this could have occurred remained unanswered. Why were such lapses allowed during a high-profile event? The answers offered were vague, bureaucratic, and insufficient. Ballistic analysis further highlighted inconsistencies. Reconstructed trajectories revealed angles inconsistent with the autopsy, suggesting that the shot's path was either misreported or deliberately mischaracterized. Analysts demonstrated that the purported C2 hit could not account for the physical damage observed. Tissue displacement and blood spatter suggested an alternative angle, raising questions about whether the report was accurate or a sanitized version designed to maintain control over public perception. In parallel, the narrative presented to the public evolved. Officials described the event as tragic but unavoidable, emphasizing the randomness of violence. Media statements highlighted Charlie's strength and resilience, framing the narrative around a heroic struggle rather than systemic failure. Subtle shifts in language minimized questions of accountability and redirected public attention to emotion rather than evidence. The case grew increasingly complex as digital reconstructions, metadata analysis, and forensic reconstructions painted a picture at odds with the official recount. Experts questioned how warning messages were handled, why security protocols failed, and how procedural lapses could occur in such a high-stakes environment. The story presented to the public seemed tidy, linear, and complete. The reality, however, was fragmented, contradictory, and deeply troubling. As new evidence surfaced, observers noticed that certain details in the autopsy had been altered between drafts. Language describing trauma was replaced with wording suggesting accidental injury. Minor shifts in phrasing carried weighty implications. Trauma implies responsibility, potential negligence, while accidental injury frames death as an inevitability. These small changes became central to debates about the integrity of the official report. Every layer of the investigation revealed further inconsistencies: missing surveillance footage, conflicting witness statements, gaps in emergency logs, altered autopsy language, and forensic reconstructions that contradicted the official narrative. The public's frustration grew as transparency remained elusive. Calls for independent review were met with bureaucratic deflection, reinforcing a sense that critical truths were being obscured. Throughout, social media became a battleground. Millions dissected leaked texts, reconstructed events, and debated every discrepancy. Experts in anatomy, forensics, and ballistics contributed insights, often contradicting official accounts. Public interest intensified, creating unprecedented scrutiny and fueling speculation that some details were intentionally withheld to control the narrative. Despite widespread analysis, official statements remained vague. Investigations are ongoing, officials repeated, offering no new evidence or clarifications. Silence from authoritative sources only magnified suspicion. Observers concluded that while facts existed, access to them was restricted, and the official story could not be independently verified. The unanswered questions continued to mount. How could warning signs have been ignored? Why did security protocols fail during a high-profile event? Could the autopsy report have been influenced to fit a narrative? What role did missing footage and deleted messages play? Each unanswered question compounded the public's sense of injustice, uncertainty, and outrage. For those following closely, the story was not just about a death, but about systemic failure. It was about missed opportunities, overlooked warnings, and conflicting evidence that raised the possibility of intentional misrepresentation. The tragedy, once singular, expanded into a case study of procedural errors, institutional gaps, and the manipulation of narrative. The investigation continues to unfold. Analysts remain active, witnesses continue to emerge, and new documents surface regularly. Each revelation adds layers of complexity, new theories, and renewed scrutiny. The public's appetite for truth has not diminished. If anything, it has intensified as inconsistencies, errors, and unexplained gaps dominate the discussion. If you're watching this, pay close attention. Every detail matters. Every contradiction matters. Every unanswered question is a piece of a puzzle that has yet to be fully revealed. Subscribe to stay informed because this story is far from over, and every new development brings us closer to understanding what really happened on that fateful night. The angles still don't align, the trajectory remains disputed, and the official narrative continues to clash with evidence. Was this a tragedy caused purely by chance? Was there negligence? Or was there something deeper, more deliberate, hidden in the shadows of procedural reports and digital reconstructions? Every layer of investigation brings more questions than answers, leaving the public unsettled anxious and desperate for clarity. And so the story continues. As investigators, experts, and the public piece together fragments, each demanding scrutiny, each defying easy explanation. The autopsy, the messages, the footage, the discrepancies, all are part of a puzzle whose pieces do not yet fit together. Every new finding reshapes the narrative, challenges assumptions, and forces society to confront uncomfortable truths about oversight, accountability, and transparency.